So we are at the National Maritime Museum, Greenwich. What a beautiful place.
National Maritime Museum Greenwich is the largest maritime museum in the world, contains some 2500 models of ships, plus paintings, navigational instruments, uniforms, and historical artifacts telling the long story of Britain at sea. The museum was established at Greenwich in 1934, taking advantage of a location with historic roots in the story of navigation. The Royal Observatory is just up the hill from the museum. The museum holds over 2 million items, from early maps to manuscripts, navigational instruments to document archives. The most important painting is the Battle of Trafalgar, 21st October 1805 by J.M.W. Turner. Another highlight is a remarkable gilded barge created for Prince Frederick, the heir to the throne, in 1731. The design was based on a traditional Thames wherry with a flat center section to accommodate a cabin. It took 21 oarsmen to power the barge under the direction of a barge master. The bow has a prominent overhang so that the boat's noble passengers could step ashore without getting their feet wet. Prince Frederick was a fashion leader, and the ornately gilded barge helped him cement his social status. This barge was the 18th century equivalent of a limousine. The barge continued in service for over 100 years. It was last used by Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, in 1849. For hundreds of years, the River Thames has been a stage for royal and civic ceremony. As London's grandest street, it was an ideal stage for displays of pageantry, demonstrating the nation's wealth and power. The river was also Britain's industrial and commercial gateway to the world. As an island nation, Britain has long relied on the Royal Navy to protect its interests and defend its shores. Changes in technology and national priorities mean that the Royal Navy has only a few dozen warships in the 21st century. However, their capabilities are far beyond those of any previous British fleet. The Battle of Trafalgar was fought on 21st October 1805 between the Royal Navy led by Admiral Nelson and a combined French and Spanish fleet. During the battle, Villeneuve lost 22 ships, but not a single British vessel was sunk or captured. This spectacular victory helped to secure Britain's supremacy at sea, which remained unchallenged until the First World War. Implacable was originally a 74-gun French warship named Dugouet-Trouin. The Battle of Trafalgar was fought on 21st October 1805 between the Royal Navy led by Admiral Nelson and a combined French and Spanish fleet under Admiral Villeneuve. During the battle, Villeneuve lost 22 ships, but not a single British vessel was sunk or captured. This spectacular victory helped to secure Britain's supremacy at sea, which remained unchallenged until the First World War. Implacable was originally a 74-gun French warship named Dugouet-Trouin. It was at Trafalgar but escaped unscathed. 2 weeks later, the ship was captured by the Royal Navy and renamed Implacable. It remained in use until 1949, when it was deliberately sunk in the English Channel. Before it was sunk, the ship's figurehead and the stern decorations were removed and later presented to the museum. The Battle of the Nile was a great victory for the British Navy in 1798. This painting shows the critical moment when L'Orient, the French flagship, blew up. Most of the crew were killed. Nelson's victory in this battle encouraged Russia and Austria to join Britain in the war against France. The Sultan of Turkey welcomed the French defeat as it removed the French threat to his kingdom. This rifle is one of the number of gifts that the Sultan presented to Nelson after the battle. Nelson used his intellect and skill to transform the way naval battles were fought. Few battles were decisively won during the 18th century. Individual ships were destroyed or captured, but rest of the defeated fleet often escaped. In his victories at the Nile, Copenhagen, and Trafalgar, Nelson's aim was to destroy or capture the entire army fleet using bold and aggressive tactics. His leadership style relied on his bravery and charisma. He also placed great confidence in his captains and crews. In the 15 years between 1487 and 1502, European seafarers embarked on voyages of discovery that transformed the way Europe saw the world. The desire to explore the world drove the rapid development of navigational knowledge and practice. By 1500, seamen were able to chart their position at sea, plot a course, and return with detailed information about oceans and distant lands. These developments built on centuries of mathematical and astronomical scholarship in Europe and the Islamic world. When applied to seafaring, they transformed navigation and meant that regular sea voyages were a realistic ambition for European mariners. Between 1500 and 1700, widespread exploration led to a growth in the number of maps and charts produced. Maps were made to show famous ocean voyages or lay claim to newly encountered lands. Charts were intended to aid navigation and included compass bearings, details of ports and harbors, and hazards at sea. Cartography or map making improved in nations that invested heavily in maritime activity, such as Portugal, Spain, and the Netherlands. By the 17th century, England was developing its own map-making tradition. Early geographers thought that there was a massive southern continent to balance the known lands in the north. Captain James Cook was sent to find it on his second Pacific voyage, 1772 to 75. His ship, the Resolution, was the first to cross the Antarctic Circle, but had to turn back because the sea ice was too thick. His expedition revealed the rich wildlife of the region, which was soon exploited by others. Seal hunters and whalers like James Weddell and Samuel Enderby were some of the first to explore the waters around Antarctica further.